Hi, welcome to Southwest Homestead. During the growing season, I'd like to do a monthly garden tour just to kind of chronicle the progress of the garden and see what succeeds and what fails. So as you can see, this is one of my raised beds. At the end, I had spinach. Those little tiny sprouts are bok choy coming up. This is the same bed where I have my garlic planted, as well as some onions, red onions at the end of this bed. This is another one of the cinder block raised beds that we've created. This one is pretty long, probably 20 feet long, and it has an entire row of onions, and alongside that I've planted zinnias. Those are just starting to sprout. Now this is snow peas that I'm hoping are going to climb up over this cattle panel trellis that we've created. Some of this stuff got planted pretty late, and it's going to warm up quite a bit here in the Southwest. Hopefully, because these are cold loving crops, they will not get too hot and fail. That is a new raspberry bush I put in. It's having a little transplant shock. Now, these are some of those black tubs you can buy at Costco, any home big box store. I was thinking I might plant carrots in them, but I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do that yet. There's another raspberry bush that's struggling. Now, on the other side of the cattle panel trellis, I have two more troughs with snow peas. And as you can see, the cattle panel trellis that we put up originally had 2 panels, and we extended that to a total of 4 cattle panels, making the trellis 16 foot in length. Once I get some things climbing over that, I think it's going to be really exciting to have that shade in that area. It's such a hot garden right out in the bright sun. It'll be nice to have a little patch of shade. And I put those square raised beds inside of the trellis, hoping that I can plant some things that like shade a little bit. More spinach there. And this is another bed, another raised bed that's got some onions planted. This is the barrel where my mint comes back year after year. I would never plant mint in my garden alone because it takes over the garden. There is a little tiny squash of some kind that is a volunteer plant. I almost lost it in the very cold weather last week. It just came up, but it has survived. Now these are something I'm pretty excited about. They are Egyptian walking onions that I was gifted. Thank you, Sharon. I'm excited to watch those spread. I've seen hers spread just crazy for years, and they just come back year after year. This is another raised bed that's got my rhubarb in it. I did plant a couple of new crowns this year. Those little tiny sprouts are parsnips that I've never grown before, and then those are radishes, French breakfast radishes that I really should have thinned a whole lot more. They're very crowded. I need to get out there and thin them out, or I'm going to lose a lot of those and just have skinny little nothing radishes. But I'm excited about the parsnips. I've never grown parsnips before, so we'll see what comes of those. A lot of this soil is some bag soil that I bought at a big box store, and it's actually a big brand name soil, and it had a lot of sticks and rocks in it. I've been pretty unhappy with that. I need to get somewhere where I can buy a better quality of soil. But those are the radishes, and I wanted to pull one up to show you what they look like. If I can get one in there. Yeah, you can see these. There's actually a little bit of bug activity. I see a couple little holes there. I haven't used any kind of pesticides. I need to create some kind of a neem oil spray or something like that. But let's see if I can pull one up and show you what it's looking like. I've never grown this variety of radish before, but I think I'm gonna like them. Across from this, I have one of my asparagus beds, and I'm gonna make myself seasick but I'm trying to hone in, and that little twiggy looking thing that you're looking at is a bare root strawberry plant. Those are interplanted with my asparagus because they're supposed to be good companion crops. I planted these when the weather was still pretty cold because I thought they were cold tolerant, but they haven't done very much since I planted them, and I'm a little worried that maybe they are not going to make it. And then in my other asparagus bed, I have planted some strawberry plants that I got from Azure Standard. Again, I planted these when the weather was still pretty cold, and they seem to have gone into a lot of shock. I'm hoping that they'll come back, but they are supposed to be June bearing strawberries, and being that it's mid-May already, I'm worried that I may not have strawberries in June. If that's the case, I will mulch them over really well this winter and hope that they come back. That was a brief glimpse at some calendula that is self-seeded and coming back, and those are broccoli plants. Again, I'm a little worried that the weather will get too hot before those become mature enough to produce fruit. There's a couple of kale plants. Kale does pretty well here almost all through the summer. There's a couple of volunteer bean plants that were left over from last year. These are grow bags that I have planted my potatoes in. I didn't want to put potatoes in any of my raised beds as they tend to take over, so I've got several of these grow bags with my potatoes started in them, and as the shoots come up, I will add more soil. And I've got the bags turned down, but they'll come up. These are beets, and I've never grown beets before, but I'm excited about the beets. I planted about 4 different varieties of beets. One of the ones I really like the look of is this bull's blood beet. It has a red tinged leaf, and I'm going to succession plant beets. So in this same bed, I will every couple of weeks plant more beets so that I have a continuous harvest coming in. But they're doing pretty well. There's some lettuce that I planted when the weather was still a little bit cooler, and there's some more spinach. I love to have lots of spinach to put in the freezer. There's some more lettuce. I can start harvesting that anytime now. I wanted to show that this is a hand pump that we put into this, I think it's called an IBC tote, or this big water storage tank. We haul water here. We do not have a well, and these are some barrels that we use for keeping emergency water, and we put these spigots on them. We could hook a hose to them if we wanted to, but we use them mainly. We can fill up buckets if we want to hand water or need water for our livestock, and these are the 2 tanks that supply our house. Thanks for watching my May garden tour. Join me next month and see what's growing in June.